A boat with over 200 Sri Lankan asylum seekers has capsized off Christmas Island in Australia. According to Indonesian authorities, 110 persons were rescued. The boat met with an accident 2,600 kilometers away from Australia, close to Christmas Island. Australian Coast Conservation authorities said over 75 persons were hanging on to the boat at the time the team reached the scene. 2 Australian naval boats and 2 aircraft were deployed for life-saving exercises. Meanwhile, the Indonesian government has also used several naval crafts in this exercise. The identities of the rescued are yet to be established. The human smugglers get more benefits by illegal human smuggling following Australian government's relaxing of immigration laws. During the first 6 months of this year, 4,434 illegal immigrants had come to Australia by 62 boats. Meanwhile, the human smugglers are exploring the possibility of using Sri Lanka as the main centre for their exercise. However, Sri Lankan Navy successfully thwarted several such attempts.
Minister of Higher Education S.B. Dissanayake told the Parliament that several foreign private medical colleges have shown their willingness to set up their branches in Sri Lanka. The minister made this disclosure taking part at the adjournment debate yesterday. Minister S.B. Dissanayake said that the Medical Council does not want to allow any private medical colleges in Sri Lanka. The minister also said that this is not the overall opinion, but this is the opinion of the doctors in the Medical Council.
රජයේ නොවන වෛද්‍යවරයෙක් ආරම්භ කිරීමට නොදීම ඒ වෛද්‍ය සංගමය හැදෙන්නේ බොහොම ටික ගානක්. ඒ සමස්ත වෛද්‍යවරුන්ගේ මතය නෙමෙයි. මේකේ ඉන්නවා වෛද්‍යවරු 61 දෙනෙක්ගේ දරුවෝ. මේ මාළඹේ. මෙච්චර ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන්නේ. BOI ව්‍යාපෘතියත් පටන් ගන්න.
Meanwhile, UMP parliamentarian Dr. Viraj Karyosam said that the BOI approval has only given to grant degrees on health science.
The Deputy Prime Minister of Luxembourg, Jean Asselborn, says Sri Lanka has made significant progress since the conflict ended. He further stated that Sri Lanka has shown an impressive performance in achieving the Millennium Development Goals, particularly in the area of poverty reduction.
The Deputy Prime Minister said that his country is committed to support Sri Lanka. He stated this when Sri Lanka's ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg and the EU, Ravinatha Ariyasinghe, paid a farewell call on him recently at his office in Luxembourg. Luxembourg has continued to provide assistance to Sri Lanka, mainly for humanitarian purposes. They have donated over $600,000 during last 2 years for humanitarian projects in Sri Lanka. The trade between the two countries has increased and the number of Luxembourg tourists visiting Sri Lanka has also developed. Luxembourg and Sri Lanka is expected to sign an agreement on the avoidance of double taxation shortly. Deputy Prime Minister assured that Luxembourg authorities have taken serious note of the activities of groups such as the LTT and that they would keep a watchful eye for any such activity.
We're going for a short commercial break right now, but we'll return with more local stories for you. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The Minister of Irrigation and Water Management said that the existing subsidy scheme for the farmers was suffering due to the water scarcity being implemented in a successful note. This project will be implemented to coincide with the Dam Conservation and Water Management Plan. Minister Dimasiripala De Silva, expressing views to media, said that the farmers were informed on how to successfully face the water scarcity. Anuradhapura and Polonnaru districts are badly affected by the ongoing drought situation. Kurunegala district is also affected due to the situation. This situation had occurred as the Upper Kotmale and Polgola reservoirs did not receive sufficient rainfalls. Meanwhile, the water levels in several reservoirs, including Kalavawa and Giritale were very low. Kotmale area received only 33 millimeters of rainfall in May, while Polgola and Polonnaru districts received 0.2 and 11 millimeters rainfall. Anuradhapura district did not receive any rain in May. The area is also facing a drinking water scarcity as well. Meanwhile, the ministry has taken measures to reconstruct dams and canals with the help of the farmers in a bid to provide redress to them.
මේ වන විට පවුල් 8100ක් ජනගහනය වශයෙන් 35000ක් පමණ ජනගහනයක්.
An estimated 26,298 hectares of paddy cultivation was affected due to severe drought. Meanwhile, Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva said that a cabinet memorandum would be submitted to provide redress to the farmers. It is noted that the paddy cultivation is highly affected due to lack of rainfall. Hence, the minister requested the farmers to divert to some other crops. Minister Nimal Siripala De Silva stated that some cases were reported where certain farmers had broken sluice gates and obtained water. The minister also said that assuming sufficient rainfall, the farmers had cultivated 100%, ignoring the instructions to cultivate only 40%.
The Amparing Giniagala silo paddy storage facility, which was kept closed for several decades, has been taken over by the Ministry of Defence. The storage is to be used under Paddy Marketing Board to provide necessary paddy to the army camps in the Eastern Province. The machinery and equipment in the storage facility were found decayed since they were not used for several years. The paddy purchased by the army from the farmers in the Ampara district will be processed at this storage facility. Over 200,000 kilos of rice is required to cater to the needs of the army camps in the Eastern Province. According to the army, the storage is being improved to cater to the demand of the army camps in the area. The army is to directly purchase paddy from the farmers in the Ampara district shortly.
Below, the dengue combat unit said that the highest number of 3,161 dengue cases have been reported in the Western Province. The unit also said that the unclean surrounding areas had contributed immensely to the increased number of dengue cases. 1,078 dengue cases with 10 deaths have been reported in the areas under the purview of the Colombo Municipal Council. Devila, Mount Lavinia, Kaduvela, Kotte, Piliandala and Maharagava are prone to dengue, while 2,207 dengue cases with 14 deaths were reported from Gampa district. 6 deaths were reported from Kaluthara district, and the number of dengue cases in the Kaluthara district is 816. Meanwhile, Ministry of Health has taken measures to implement a major dengue prevention program island-wide. 50 scientific research groups were appointed to identify mosquito breeding places. Police and army personnel are being deployed to prevent dengue in Colombo district. Meanwhile, the government said that a special program is being implemented in all the hospitals to treat dengue patients.
For the first time in Sri Lanka, hundreds of domestic dust mites have been found inside a human ear. A medical research revealed that these mites are microbes found in the dust in a dry environment. These mites were found inside the ear of a patient who came for treatment at the ENT unit of Kaluthara Nagara General Hospital. A sample of it has been referred to the Baralla Medical Research Unit. The existence of thousands of mites was revealed through a test done using a microscope. The Director of Medical Research Unit said that these mites can create wheeze among the patients. He also said that these mites are powerful enough to pierce the eardrum and to affect the brain of the patient. Meanwhile, an interest-free loan scheme to purchase vehicles is to be introduced for artists who have completed 18 years of service. The Ministry of Cultural Affairs said that a loan to a maximum amount of 1.2 million will be provided under the scheme. A discussion in this regard was held at the Ministry of Cultural Affairs recently. Artists from literature and documentation, dancing, puppet dancing, drama, carving, photography, television and handicraft will qualify for the loan scheme. According to the Ministry, applications will be invited next month. Minister T.B. Ekanaika and Parliamentarian Malini Fonseca were also present at the discussion.
Meanwhile, a photographic masterpiece named Sri Lanka and the Candy Asalaperahara by renowned American photographer Michael Sanaki was launched in Washington, D.C. recently. The maiden copy of the book was presented to Venerable Maharagama Dharmasiri Nayakathero, the chief incumbent of the Washington Buddhist Vihara.
The 272-page book contains over 300 high-quality photographs and rich content referring to the sacred tooth relic and its long-practiced customs. The book is the product of Sanaki's 15-year-long photographic journeys to Sri Lanka, in which he had extensively researched the centuries-old religious festival. Speaking at the occasion, Mr. Sanaki said that his project was aimed at creating awareness of the richness of Sri Lankan culture and the warmth and kindness of Sri Lankan people. Sri Lankan Ambassador to United States, Mr. Jaliya Wickramasinghe, addressing the gathering said that the book would become a catalyst to promote Sri Lanka's tourism. The Embassy of Sri Lanka in Washington, D.C. sponsored the event as a part of its program to promote Sri Lanka as a tourist destination in United States.
The final rites of leading camera director Suminda Veerasinghe were held at the Borala General Cemetery this evening. He was 62 years at the time of his demise. Suminda Veerasinghe, who entered the cinema era in 1970, did his first film Arunata Pera, directed by Amaranath Jayatilaka. He had contributed more than 50 films including Kadapataka Chaya, Maruthaya, Palamayata and Sisila Ginigani. He passed away on the 18th of this month while shooting the film Sri Daladagamaniya in Anuradhapura. Parliamentarian Malini Fonseca read out the condolence message by the President. A sea of mourners, including artists and politicians, attended the funeral. That's a look at news here at home. Stay with us as we join you with international news next. Welcome back. A judge in Pakistan has ordered the arrest of President Asif Ali Zardari's preferred candidate for Prime Minister, just a day after he was nominated. Makhdoom Shahabuddin's arrest warrant is linked to imports of an illegal drug while he was health minister. Parliament is due to vote on a new PM to replace Yusuf Raza Gilani. The Supreme Court disqualified him because of a contempt conviction. It is not clear if the warrant will derail Shahabuddin's nomination.
Now we move on to some international news in brief.
Military plane crashes into houses in Jakarta, Indonesia, leaving at least 6 dead. The Fokker 27 crashed into a housing complex within the Halim military airport compound. Britain Prince William turns into 30 today. William is second in line for the throne behind his father, Prince Charles. The newsroom premiere will be screened from June 24. Television series was created by Aaron Sorkin. Cast members include Jeff Daniels, Emily Mortimer and Dev Patel.
Someone's going to throw coffee on a button and broadcast that thing.
I've got a 1-week contract. I don't have a lot.
Despite grey skies and rain, hundreds gather at Stonehenge to celebrate the summer solstice. The Stonehenge site is spread over 2,600 hectares of land, the famous stone circle at the centre surrounded by a landscape consisting of more than 350 burial mounds.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining with me, Nitya Sarachandra, for your latest updates from the world of sports. Today is all about cricket. The 41st Sri Lanka-Pakistan Test cricket match will be held at the Galle International Stadium tomorrow. Sri Lankan skipper Mahala Jayawardene said that the Sri Lankan team is fully prepared to face Pakistan leading bowlers. 40 test matches were held between Sri Lanka and Pakistan, and Sri Lanka was able to win 9 matches while being defeated in 16 matches, along with 15 matches ending in a draw. Only 15 test matches were played in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka was able to win in 3 matches, while Pakistan won 6 matches, with another 6 matches ending in a draw. Sri Lankan skipper Mahala Jayawardene said that Sri Lanka, which won the ODI, is prepared to win the test match as well.
And that's it on the news tonight. Thank you for joining us. Do watch again tomorrow night at the same time. Good night.